It always comes to this. More nice shit. Morning guys, here to do another tattoo progress update today. Where I last left off, I had most likely showed off the thorns on my arm, and they're fully healed now. So you can see they held up great. I still think the best piece on my arm so far has been this rose. For whatever reason, that's like picture perfect. But the thorns came out really good too. The one down here and some of the ones on the outer part aren't as dark. The black took a little worse. Same as, like, I think I pointed out, these leaves aren't as dark as the black in here. So there will be a few little touch-ups in and about that sleeve. But that's all par for the course. Like, we kind of picture that this will take a full session of touch-ups most likely. So Terry was thinking maybe we'd need to do all the black a second time, and I was like, no, it's not really going to get any blacker than say that. It's just like there's going to be a few spots that are a little lighter than others. So I don't think it's worth doing a full second pass. It's just the black needs to be touched up some spots. That being said, we will be doing a full second pass of the white, because that was always our intention, and then most likely some high points. Anyway, obviously I had another session. You can see Rick and I did about 2.5 hours this week, but we're at that stage in this project now where you could do 20 minutes and it's going to make a big difference. So yeah, I'll just show it off a little better. Hold on here. So yeah, we basically redid the entire side. That was gonna happen. I've been saying that all along. Now, the only reason why I'm bringing that up is because I've had a few people ask me, you know, are you gonna keep going over it forever? Like, are you gonna keep hitting it every week because it's fading? It's like, no, we have only hit what we've hit once. So like, this side has been worked on 3 times, but each piece of the color, each part of the color has only been done once. It hasn't been done twice or 3 times or whatever. Just because I'm working on one side a couple times doesn't mean I'm doing the exact same thing over and over. So for example, we didn't do every tentacle in one session. We didn't fill all the color in each tentacle in one session. The black, like the hard black that was put in after the color was, because it was a little bit hard to line out a new piece on top of that pre-existing dark shadow from my old chest blackout, which was only done in, like, it was either done in early June or late May last year. So for reference, I know I mention it quite often on here, but people didn't think I'd be able to cover that at all. So whether it would have been any easier to do or not, if we had waited longer, or if I had blacked that out years ago with everything else, we've still been able to do it. That being said, I really truly believe that 2 passes for color is pretty well going to be the baseline. If I wanted this to be more solid, see, for example, the reason why this neck looks pretty good on 1 pass is because it's such a huge mass of the same tone that you can't not see it. But if you were just to put a little bit of that somewhere, like most of these colors are just little spots, they're not going to be as defined as a big wall of red. So for example, this color is thinner than this color, and it's not close. But because there's so much of it, it makes a whole property of its own. And it has its own kind of force and intention. So yeah, we did more of the black that we did last week, which you can see has held up great. All of this black that we framed around the bottom here and some in here That all held up great. But as I said, for whatever reason, this spot isn't liking to take the white. So that was the second time we've done the white now. And in these ones, you can see it. Those look really bright. Those look almost as bright as the negative space and yellow and white and the teeth down here on my centerpiece. But for whatever reason, this spot doesn't like taking the white. Doesn't mean we're going to give up on it, though. Like I said to Rick, it just needs a little extra love and care. But we'll get it there. We'll get the same value. It's just going to take a minute. So, as you can see now, and this is going to be about this clear, just so you know. Like, I'm going to do this vlog next week, and this isn't going to drop out much. Because what I've observed with color is the first pass is enough to get it there. It's enough that you can see there's something there, but it's not enough to be super vibrant. But this here, it is not going to drop back that much. So this is kind of the standard we're going for in terms of color saturation. Now that things are colored in, it's also a little easier for Rick to get there too. When we just had that outline, and really all we had to go off was a picture and an idea. There were no real lines that you could really even see. I mean, Rick can say he could see them, but I would have had a hell of a time shading that. So those sessions were a little bit slow going because a lot of it's just finding your place. You know, light shifts, you lose your spot. There's nothing there. So like you've got no guide. So those sessions were slower going because there was sometimes 30 seconds in between touching down with the needle, you know, because you don't want to just be putting shit in places that doesn't go. But now that the picture's all there, it'll be the same thing with this side. We'll do 2.5 hours, but it will be the amount that we got done in a few sessions early on because now we have the picture there and the colors are all there. Just because they're not super vibrant doesn't mean they're not there. So all it is now is going in and using like brightening it up, basically re-going over it. But when we were starting this out too, we were both interested in the experimentation. I will always be. You can call me a willing guinea pig. I've had people make the joke that I'm my artist's guinea pig and he's just trying shit on me and all that. No, I'm a willing participant in that. I am fully not only on board for that, but I'm encouraging that and inspiring that. Like, he didn't come up with this plan. I did. This was my brainchild, no pun intended. That's not saying that I'm doing it. I'm not doing the work. I'm not executing this. The guy's on a high level executing this. But this is my insanity. This is my plan to try and do all of these different colors. So what that was for him was the task was to find, or the assignment was, as the kids like to say, to find the pigments that work the best. And until we do, and I'll put in what we used again here today, until we do find what works the best, we're just in the dark experimenting. And some are stronger than others. Rick found a few staples for this along the way. There's a sienna yellow that he's going to probably be using for a lot more projects, for example. There's a mega flower red that he's really fond of that comes out real red over the black. But Rick does a lot of cover-up work, so all of this work on me has been instructive. And it's probably going to change his approach to all tattoos for the rest of time now. He's told me, and this is not even a brag or anything, it's just a reality. He's told me that he's learned more working on me in the last couple of years on this project than he's learned in almost his entire time tattooing. Because every time you work on blackout canvas, you're doing something completely new. Even now when we've done this so many times, every session there's something new. Every single one. Like, for example, for a lot of people, this is going to seem absolutely absurd that we got these colors in that well. And for me, it's like, I've had people disagree with the subject matter. Some people don't like what we've gone with for this chest piece, but you're not going to be able to deny the technical application of it, and you're not going to be able to deny that it does work. Now, that being said, as I've said many times, I've never said that this happens quick. Like, I'll have people that will say things like, oh yeah, well, it doesn't work if it takes 400 sessions to saturate an area. Well, no, that means it does work, even if it did take that much. That doesn't mean it doesn't work. It means it does work if you're patient or if you're determined. So there's no like, oh, that doesn't work because it took a long time. Lots of good things take a long time. Just about any cool bodysuit takes forever to do. And if you have one that didn't take forever to do, it's not overly detailed. Maybe I shouldn't say it's not cool, but it's not overly detailed. Like if you want to get like a big black and gray bodysuit full of lions and portraits and pocket watches and stuff like that, you can feel free to, and you can also rest with the knowledge that it's only going to take you a couple hundred hours, because when you're doing black and gray portraits and wildlife and stuff like that, there's a lot of negative space and there's a lot of soft shading, and you're covering big areas very quickly. With stuff like this, one little part of this tattoo is between 5 and 10 hours. Like one little, like we did that Reacts to Frogs tattoos the other day, Kevin and I here at the shop, and it's like every single part of that leg sleeve or whatever is going to take hours. So just to look at it doesn't speak the volume. This has been the 15th session I've had on this, and yeah, there have been some short ones, there have been a few longer ones, but overall we're between 35 and 40 hours on this already. And I think we got this session, we got to do the exact same thing. Then we got to come back into the face and do mostly the same thing in there. Then I think there's going to be a touch-up on both sides, and we have to do kind of the same thing on the bottom. From there, I think there's probably going to be a once-over or maybe a couple once-over touch-ups, but I think we're probably somewhere around 55-60% of the way through this, which should mean that this will take between 50 and 60 hours for this chest piece, which is actually not too bad in my opinion. Oh, I forgot some background stuff still to go, so yeah, somewhere between 60 and 70 hours is probably appropriate. And then we'll be on to the sleeve. Anyway, I don't have a session with Terry this week. I've decided to give my arm the week off. It's in various stages of healing all over the place, so we're going to take a break, but I'll be getting back into that next week, and the red will be starting. I'm not sure how we're going to approach that, if we're going to build down or if we're going to build up, but we should be able to get at least half of the red done in the first session. All right, I'll talk to you guys again soon. Have a great day.